Flagstaff, Arizona is surrounded by mountains, pine trees, and deserts, and is known as the gateway to the San Francisco Peaks. On the 22nd of May 2001, a funeral director at Flagstaff Mortuary, located at 302 West Oak Avenue, was rummaging through clutter in the attic and was surprised to find a dusty old crate. Asking employees at the mortuary about the crate, it turned out that nobody knew where it had come from. Up until 1974, the mortuary had been used as a medical examiner site. Therefore, it was a possibility that it was accidentally abandoned by those who had resided there before. Opening the crate, an unexpected discovery was made. Inside were skeletal remains, and it was confirmed by authorities that the bones belonged to an adolescent male. As a result, police exhausted all efforts to identify the young man and make contact with the previous proprietor of the mortuary. However, luck was not on their side. It was a complete mystery as to how the crate got in the attic and why it was left there. Also, there were no reports of any missing people who matched the description of the decedent. The skeleton was buried in a pauper's grave in Citizens Cemetery in Flagstaff. Almost a decade later, a detective received John Doe's case and was determined to find out the truth. He had suspicions that the body may have belonged to a missing 18-year-old Californian man named Michael James Griffin, who disappeared with his 15-year-old girlfriend, Donis Marie Pinky Redman, on the 1st of March 1958, last seen in either San Pedro, located within the Golden State, or in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sources differ on that precise information. The couple had allegedly planned to elope, however there was never any evidence found confirming a marriage, and neither have been heard from or seen again. Michael's car, an early 1950s Dodge Clipper, was found a few days after they vanished in Williams, a city in northern Arizona. Detective Casey Rucker thought that John Doe could possibly have been Michael Griffin, and an exhumation was granted in 2010. During the process, it was found that the burial had not been done efficiently, and the casket had collapsed on the remains, crushing the skull of the nameless young man. The remains were taken to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for further examinations. DNA tests were carried out, comparing John Doe's DNA to that of Michael Griffin's family. However, it was proven that it was not a match. The sample was subsequently uploaded to several law enforcement and missing people databases should a match be made in the future. One theory is that Flagstaff John Doe, also known as Coconino County John Doe, could be missing 19-year-old Ohio student Ronald Henry Hammond, who vanished on the 19th of April 1953. He disappeared from Old Fisher Hall at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. After returning from playing brass at an event with a dance band, he found a fish in his bed sheets. He left his dormitory to receive fresh sheets and returned to study. At some point later that night, he apparently heard something which disturbed him, and he went out into the hall to investigate further. At midnight, Hammond's roommate arrived back to the dorm and found that he was gone. His roommate noted that the door was open, all of the lights were on, and the radio was playing. Ronald's watch, car keys, and wallet were still present in the room. Even his psychology book sat open on his desk. The roommate assumed he was just at a fraternity house, but after anxiously waiting for his friend's return, he retired to bed after an hour. The next morning, police were alerted as Ronald hadn't returned to campus. Searches of public transport routes were fruitless, and the missing man's family in Cleveland insisted that he would not have left without informing them of his plans first. The Air Force were involved, and hundreds of students scoured the countryside in search of him. However, they found nothing of significance. A Mrs. Spivey told authorities that a young man matching Tammond's description appeared at her door in 7 Mile, which is located approximately 15 miles east of Oxford, the following morning on the 20th of April, saying that the man seemed confused. He had a smudge on his cheek and seemed expressionless, the unidentified man asking her for directions to the closest bus stop. Conditions had been poor. However, despite the snow, the man wasn't wearing appropriate clothing for the season. Spivey thought he would take a vehicle to the bus stop, but she soon realised that he was walking, and police confirmed that all bus routes had been cancelled due to the wintry weather. The Butler County coroner confirmed to investigators that in 1973, Ronald Hammond had come to his office 5 months to the day after his disappearance. He was requesting a blood test, which was a one-of-a-kind experience for the coroner. The fate of Ronald Hammond remains unknown. He was born on the 23rd of July 1933, was Caucasian and of a dark and ruddy complexion, stood between 5 feet 9 inches and 6 feet tall and weighed 175 pounds. He had brown hair, brown eyes and was blood type O positive. Interestingly, Ronald Hammond was last seen wearing a tan and blue plaid jacket. From what they could confirm, authorities believed that Flagstaff John Doe was a Caucasian male between the ages of 15 and 18, and his remains were originally found in Williams, Arizona, then placed in the crate. It is not known how long he had been deceased for before his remains were moved. He had brown hair, approximately 4 inches long, and it was stated that he was possibly wearing blue tennis shoes, blue or grey trousers, and a yellow or tan-coloured short-sleeved button-down plaid shirt. Unfortunately, because the remains were skeletal, there is no information regarding things such as eye colour or any distinctive features. In June 2019, the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children released a new facial reconstruction of what authorities believe John Doe to have looked like in life. There are several questions raised regarding this case. Why was John Doe in the attic of a mortuary? Why was he not buried? Could someone else have been buried in his place? Was there possibly a rogue employee at the mortuary who abandoned procedures? Was something more sinister at play, or was it merely a case of forgotten remains? Who was Flagstaff John Doe? The case of Ronald Hammond is a peculiar one, and there are quite a few descriptive matches between Hammond and John Doe, yet authorities have not ruled out Hammond as a possibility. Only time will tell. However, hope remains that Flagstaff John Doe will one day reclaim his name and be returned to his loved ones.